All right, hello and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a wonderful Tuesday, January the 11th, 2022. The first time I've done a live stream in 6 weeks, quite perhaps.
Something like that.
I think so, and quite perhaps. Yep, okay. I wanted to make sure audio was coming through on the stream because it would hardly be a Life with Matthew stream without some sort of audio or technical issue. But to my amazement, guys, it looks like I'm actually doing it all right so far. I mean, I can see it over there. Audio's coming in. I'm fully clothed. Everything's working out.
Yes, I'm very thankful for that last part, especially.
Well, me too. I mean, I start to get a little doubtful if everything else on the stream is working. I'm like, I mean, are we good down? Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. You're like one of the old nightmares people allegedly have all the time. You end up in school, you're taking a test, and, you know, you end up being naked. Did you ever have one of those? I don't care. I don't want to know. I have not. I've never had that dream, but, like, it's such a staple. I'm like, am I the weird one, or is this just a made-up Hollywood thing? And yes, Arvik, I should not jinx it, but I'm going to. I'm so going to. Josh is claiming that he sees my mouth moving, but no sound. Josh is claiming... But I just checked. Nice try, Josh. I say like nice try like it didn't work, but it totally did, because I checked. But no. If you're not hearing sound, the issue is on your end. But hey, guys, thank you. I do want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart that you guys have been patient with me not doing this for the past 6 weeks. I know it's been a really long time, but this is really the first time I felt comfortable doing a live stream where I was the one running it all. And I mean, obviously John's here, so if something happened, I could run off, and I know John would be far superior to what the quality that I give you guys.
We'll see about that.
I wasn't comfortable doing that. It was fine to show up on Michael's streams because, as you guys saw, I can just pop off, and I know Michael can click all the buttons and make the things whir and go. So I really appreciate that you guys have you know, been patient and not like pounding at the gates for me to do things. Amy's doing a lot better. She's able to get around using just the orthopedic boot, and even that, I think they're saying probably another 2 weeks, and she can take that off and do some light, gentle walking around the home where she knows, you know, no one's going to be stepping on her feet except some children, and they're not going to disturb anything. So she's doing well. I'm very glad that we're getting to this stage of the recovery process where I can, you know, take an hour and a half, hang out with you guys, watch SeaQuest, and, you know, see what's going on with Lewis, Darwin, and the gang. I'm pretty sure I got that. I was already telling John yesterday or the day before. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to remember all the sassy names I have for people.
I'm sure you'll make up new ones.
We can hope.
By the way, I'm sorry you've not been feeling well, Thomas. Hope you feel better soon.
Oh. Yeah, sorry, Thomas. Is it my fault? Is it because you have to work this Friday because of the football game that I pulled some strings and got one team to win?
Well, that didn't help, but I think he is actually physically sick right now.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that. And on that, my mother-in-law and father-in-law both tested positive for COVID, and one of my sister-in-laws did. And I didn't laugh when they got it. I laughed when my mom got it. I own up to this. Hopefully she's not watching right now, or else I'm going to get a tannin when I see her next. But I did laugh simply because it was extremely ironic, guys. It was so ironic that she was the one who got it. But I didn't laugh when they got it because it wasn't ironic that they got it. It was, you know, just one of those things of life.
Remember, it's okay if people get sick as long as it's ironic.
Yes, it is. And I mean, you heard me. You heard me on the stream we did on Monday with History and R&R, where I talked about,
World War I.
Yeah, I'm like World War I. I think it's amazing and fascinating and incredible the way that World War I got kicked off. And I didn't word it like that. Like, that sounds actually halfway acceptable.
You said you loved how it started.
That's what I said. I said I love how it started. I do this to myself. I start off saying something that makes sense here, and a second after it comes out of my mouth, the filter checks in, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, you messed up on the last thing. Oh, you've already said it. Sorry. I should fire it, but I mean, he catches something every once in a while. But no, I do find it fascinating, the set of circumstances that had to transpire for World War I to start. Specifically, the fact that they went out there to assassinate the Archduke or Duke or someone like that. I forget off the top of my head. And they messed up. Like, everything went wrong on their attempt to assassinate him. And they're all dejected. They go into this random restaurant. And then, by complete and sheer utter coincidence, the Archduke walks into their restaurant. And they're like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy we were going to shoot. And, like, that is what set off World War I. And, you know, everyone was allied with everyone else. It just blew up. But it was, I mean, that's just so fascinating to me. That's how it went down. That's such a random thing. Thomas, I do feel a headache coming on again for some reason, Matthew.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, Thomas, you might be hurting yourself with this one. But guys, thanks for being here. 47 Yorktown, how are you doing? Josh Street, glad you are here. What is Dolphin Boy is back, or is this now Life with Amy? No, it's me. It's me, Professor Franny Specs. Glad that you were here, wondering what is SeaQuest, and I saw you started to quote the opening from Babylon 5, which I only know because you told us in the chat after you quoted it. So I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh, that's Babylon 5. Let's go. No, I have basic reading comprehension.
Very basic.
Very basic. Very basic. Eric Sonder, how are you doing tonight? Glad that you're here with us today. Thomas, this is a SeaQuest stream. I know it's been a long time, but it's here. We've been there. We got to here. Bradley, you have to subscribe to get audio. Yeah, that's the ticket. If you don't have audio, you gotta subscribe, which I do realize now is self-defeating because you can't hear me telling you how to get audio. I'll try and fix that in post. And Professor with all the face palms, I stand by the fact that it's fascinating. I have no lament on finding that fascinating. Robert Rose Jr., how you been tonight? I hope you're doing well. It's great. I haven't seen you guys in so long because of my own fault. I know. But it's great to see you guys here. Springtime, how are you doing? I'm only stop talking to Life with Matthew. You're only going to get him in more trouble. Springtime, I don't need other people's help. I can get in trouble all on my own. Just ask Amy. Well, guys, hopefully...
Josh wants to know if you're on...
So go on.
To say Josh wants to know if you're on a live chat.
I am on live chat, yes. But I'm also using a client called Restream, and it lets me sync up between YouTube and Twitch. Twitch for anyone who watches over there. So, and the way the client works, it only does live chat. I was quickly bouncing down through them to get to live chat moving forward. So, the way this works, guys, for anyone who has forgotten, I have posted a link to SciTube, sci2.be, up in the comment section. Click on that link, and during this stream and this stream only, you will be able to watch my copy of SeaQuest 2032. Unfortunately, if you are watching in the future, you gotta go get this yourself. And there's wonderful ways to do this. You can buy the DVDs outright, which I recommend. It's been 3 good seasons, 1 amazing season, 1 okay season, and season 3 I think is turning into another good season. So you can buy the DVDs or Blu-rays. I've seen those out kicking around. Or if you don't want to spend some money on anything, go get peacocktv.com. Go there, sign up for a free account, and you will absolutely be able to watch all 3 seasons of SeaQuest. And I say that I think you still can. It has been a hot minute since the last time we did this. So I'm telling everyone to go do that. So let me double check and make sure that is actually an option. I want to say it is. And even if it's not, they actually have a lot of good stuff over there. And I wish I was sponsored by them. I'm not. I would have shield for them in a heartbeat if they'd ever talked to me during all the times I've done SeaQuest. But honestly, they probably didn't want me with all my bad names and horrible memory promoting them. But
want to violate your exclusive deal with Mego Toys. Yes,
exactly. So yeah, okay, SeaQuest is still up over there. SeaQuest DSV and SeaQuest 2032, which is, this third season here, it's still there. They have a ton of stuff also. They have The Office, they have Parks and Rec, just a crazy amount of content, and it's free for some reason. I really don't understand their business model on this, but a lot of it is free. Every once in a while, I find something on there that is a premium content, but that's not a big deal. Like Harry Potter, The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That's a premium one. The Goblets of Fire, that's a premium one. So all their premium stuff has like this little feather icon in the top left-hand corner. But that's where you're going to have to watch it if you are here in the future, and my link isn't going to work, guys. Thankfully, Peacock TV has been incredibly gracious with us doing this. They gave me a single episode where they claimed it. Like, hey, you've used a little bit too much of the clips. And they released that. I said, hey, this is what we're doing. And they released it within a couple days. So I will 100% recommend you go over there because they've worked so well with us. I say like I was in direct communication, but you guys know what I mean. The fact that this is their policy instead of other people who I shall not name, who you try to talk great about their content and they make it so you can't do it outside the US or on mobile devices. I don't think I have to say their names. You know who it is. It's a Trekkie kind of thing. But those are the options. For anyone who's here right now or in the future and you don't want to open up another tab, you're watching on your mobile maybe, or you only have one monitor, or for whatever reason, you just want to watch here, I got you covered. Down here in this little box below, which I've turned off my mirror. Everything's backwards. This way-ish. There we go. Down there. See, this is why I turn on the mirror. If I had the mirror, I could point like this, but no. People didn't like me using it because everything appeared backwards. If you look at the mirror if you look at the box down there, it's going to do the clips. Once every 3 to 5 seconds, I grab a still image with no audio just for a reference as we talk about the episode. Professor wants to know, does anything work around here? Yes. Amazingly enough, they do. And ABC. That's totally the people I'm talking about. In all honesty, ABC, you don't mess with anything the mouse owns. The mouse is extremely protective of all their content. So is Viacom. Like, someone tried to do some stuff on one of Viacom's own old properties, and they struck it down hard. Like fair use wasn't even a thing. So that's the option, guys. Hopefully you have come and joined us over in the screening room. We're going to get talking about this in just a few seconds. I will give you a quick 3 countdown. So if you're in the future, you can hit the play button over on Peacock TV or on your DVD player, whatever you're using. And we'll kick things off here. Excuse me. So here we go. Hit that play button in 3, 2, 1, and we are off. And as always, if I have messed up and you guys are hearing audio, please let me know so I can get that turned off real quick. So as you see, there are just dead orcas everywhere. Just trashed. And we're finding out that, or killer whales perhaps, we're finding out that the entire ecosystem could be in jeopardy. Something has gone wrong in this area. And they're extremely confused because the the thing we're hearing right now is this gamma 21. It's a chemical that's supposed to break down industrial pollutants, but it's mutated. And Jellicoe wants to know how things got here in the first place, and it turns out it's SeaQuest. 12 years ago, before they went off to the alien planet and had all their wacky adventures, they had dealt with an oil spill here. And unfortunately, on this specific biome, when they released that chemical that ate up the oil spill, it mutated 12 years later, and it's just wiping out all aquatic life in this area. Yeah, Thomas, or a society that gets mad if you post a picture of a popular author asking if you used their permission to post it. That was insane. Josh, Bert is dumping his Deloja machine in the ocean again. Yes, that's what caused it all to mutate. It couldn't handle it. But 3 subs come up, and we find out that Bridger is the one in charge. And he's saying that I'm not going to let you come any closer to this area than you already have come. And he's taking up an extremely aggressive stance or position against them. Which I thought was a fun surprise. I didn't know that Bridger would be back for this episode. And so that was I was doing what Jeff was saying. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And not just that he's back, but he's the antagonist, that he is opposing them in this episode.
Yes, what could he ever be up to?
Now, Thomas, who was that society? I remember you telling me about them. Was it Tolkien?
Tolkien Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is just so dumb. The fact, like, I mean, it's weird enough to me that societies like that exist, where they are the owners, intellectual property owners of a dead person entirely. Like, there's the Winston Churchill Society, where you cannot use a public speech he made while the sitting head of the British Parliament, a public official position, you can't use it because the Winston Churchill Society owns it. It blows my mind. Like, he's a public servant. You should be able to use anything he said. But, you know, Bridger's back, and he's kind of surprised to see Lucas in the uniform there. And everyone wants to know, what are you even doing here, Bridger? And he goes, well, this outbreak that's killing all the marine life was my fault. It was a direct consequence of what SeaQuest did. And so he's kind of insisting that he has the authority to come and figure out what's going on. Like, you need to brief me. What are you guys about to do? And kind of as a goodwill gesture, we see that Jellicoe is willing to bring him in, let him hear what's going on, but he does draw the line at his attaché, his associate there. He kind of gets fridged for the rest of the episode. And Bridger's kind of throwing some shade this episode. Like he's
not too pleased that Lucas officially joined up with the UEO.
Yeah. Like he's kind of insulting everyone for doing what he did at the beginning of the season or series. He left being just a private person and rejoined with SeaQuest. And you know, Bridger, he's happy to see everyone. He says, "Well, where's Brody?" And they reveal that, well, unfortunately, Brody, he died in the Spindrift Micronesia conflict, which was 1 episode or 2 months ago. Hey, Chief Cook, how you doing tonight? So Bridger is making his case here as a scientist. He says that he's thoroughly researched this area and he's researched this condition. And he is convinced that this patch of outbreak has reached its maximum size, that there's no way for it to grow any larger, and that if they simply do nothing, it's going to die out. I thought it was 2 months, more like 5. It's certainly been a while. Now, Lewis is making the counterpoint to this, that Bridger is making all of his predictions upon a constant rate of change for the mutagen, but if he's even 1% off, then this is going to escalate outside his ability to control it, which is a bit of an overstatement, I think, on Lewis's part. 1% one way, certainly that could escalate things aggressively, but 1% the other way just means it all dies out quicker. And Bridger, he is really being a bit of a jerk in this episode. He's talking about how he would think that Jellicoe would know better than anyone that intervention is the absolute wrong course of action to take. And apparently there was some other outbreak that happened. They had to evacuate a bunch of people, and then they set off a bomb of some sort, like a microwave bomb or gamma radiation bomb. I forget what they said there. But it was a bomb that killed all organic life, but didn't damage any of the actual property, any of the houses. But by doing that, it killed all the remaining biological life in the area. And in fact, to this day, there's no more biological life. So the UEO commander, he decides to side up with Lewis. And we see some saber rattling between the two captains, that Bridger isn't going to let him do it, and Jellicoe says, well, I'm not going to try and talk you out of this, but I'm doing it anyway. And again, Bridger is being kind of rude to Lewis here. And, Lewis is like, look, Captain, you always taught me to think for myself. And Bridger's like, well, I'm not convinced you are thinking for yourself, ensign. So Bridger's gone back to his ships, or subs. Do you call a sub a ship? His vessel?
I believe it's usually called a boat.
His boat? He's gone back to his boats. And not answering any communication. I bet Chief would know. Chief, what are subs called? I mean, I know you didn't serve on a sub, but you were in the Navy. So they decide that they're going to try and just bypass Bridger, go around him. They're seeking a somewhat neutral solution here. At least at first. They quickly see that that's not going to work. Bridger's cutting them off. And he's like, okay, stand down, Mr. Piccolo. We're going to launch 3 EMPs at them. And everyone's like, what? He's like, relax. It's just going to be just strong enough to disable their systems. So, of course, Jellicoe, he gets his 3 hits. But it only works on 2 of the subs. Apparently, Bridger foresaw what they were going to do. And he took enough countermeasures to not be affected by it. And, we get this moment where everyone's kind of proud of their old captain. Which I really enjoy this back and forth they're doing. We see they're both extremely competent captains. And they're both aware of the capabilities of their other and making good choices based on the abilities of their boats. So they're playing a game of chicken. Yeah, a sub chicken. And Bridger, he's not backing down, it doesn't seem like, and Jellicoe's certainly not going to. And I mean, honestly, I'd be on Jellicoe's side. I'm like, it's a SeaQuest. I think it can take a little ramming from a sub without any issues. But at the last second, Bridger blinks. He heads off 5 degrees down. Or at least it seems like he blinks. He does something to one of their whiskers and it lights up all blinky. And now their magnetic drive impellers are toast. SeaQuest accelerating for some reason. And Lewis is saying, we gotta shut everything down. Or at least shut down the impellers. So Bridger was able, with a single action, to take down the SeaQuest.
Well, you designed the ship after all. You should know what to do.
And guys, it's been a while. Is John's microphone coming in loud enough? Or do I have him too quiet? Can you say a little bit here, John?
Does it sound all right? Is it loud enough?
Let me boost you up a little bit there.
Thank you.
And yeah, there we go. Exactly, John. Bridger's saying, I designed her. I know how to disable her. Josh is claiming he only hears John. You're lying, Josh. I know you are. And Bridger is saying that he's going to keep the SeaQuest here until this outbreak is over. And he's extremely confident in this. That he knows exactly how anytime they fix her, he can bring her back down in a heartbeat. And it's getting really, really personal between Wallencheck and Bridger. Thomas still trying to silence John. Now, we see here that Bridger's prediction is already incorrect. That in the time that they've been there, the outbreak zone has actually increased another 13%. And Bridger was saying it's already at its maximum size. Now, unfortunately, one of the things I think this episode either fails at or is so good it just annoys me at is that 2 men of science never once look at the other person's data. They talk about, I feel this, I know you feel that, well, I feel this, I know you feel that, I'd make this decision again, I would too, and not once do they glance at each other's research. Now, admittedly, most people probably wouldn't find a debate on, the mutagen of a cell very interesting, but I would have preferred to see at least a passing, I looked at your data, it doesn't hold up, something like this. Now, Josh wants to know, is this the virus from the future episode with the 2 teens who have to repopulate the world? It is not?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I think that would have made for an interesting idea, but I mean, they pretty much already sealed the deal on that one. The Adam and Eve time is a Mobius strip episode.
And O'Neill has officially declared that he agrees with Captain Bridger and he doesn't like what they're doing.
But what they're about to do here is that. They got the ship back up to specs, the power on, and Jellicoe said, we're just going to keep playing dead for another minute. And once the boat of Bridger came by and presented his impellers to him, they shot it with their lasers. So that it was a non-lethal shot, but it was just a disabling shot. And everyone is really upset about this because there's a lot of loyalty for Bridger, and I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
But Jellicoe, he's a military man. He's like, okay, we got a mission to do here. He's become an enemy combatant when he disabled SeaQuest and got in our way. I'm going to take a aggressive yet as non-lethal stance as I possibly can take here. So they're ready to begin deploying the antigen that Lewis has come up with. So they're gonna go throughout this infected area, releasing his antigen, and it should cause an immediate breakdown of the proteins. At least, so we're gonna see a decreased level of the proteins, but it's gonna take a couple of weeks before it really is completely gone. And Lewis is pretty proud of himself right now. He's like, yeah, I came up with this. I got this. So Lewis comes to to Jellicoe, and he wants to go mount a rescue mission to Bridger's ship. And Jellicoe gives him permission. Now, I love this moment. Throughout SeaQuest Season 1 and 2, we saw this relationship between Lewis and Bridger of like this kind of a mentor, father-like figure for Lewis. And anytime he'd have a problem, Bridger would come and give this, story time with the captain. And it would always be like this touching story. So we get the same kind of thing right now with Jellicoe, except it's not very touching. Like, it's very hard-hitting. Where Jellicoe's like, my dad was an amazing pool player, and I never could beat him except one time. Like, I beat him silly. But I wasn't really happy that I did. I felt cheated because I realized my dad was just a man like anyone else. But Lewis and Bridger continuing the bickering. Everyone's making the wrong choice. No one's listening to each other. So, of course, he goes to see the best counselor on the ship.
Exactly.
It's sure not B'Elanna Troy, wherever she is.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Did she die in the Spindrift episode?
It's kind of implied that she died on the alien planet because she never showed up again after that.
Oh. I forgot. Yeah, she hasn't been here in season 3. It has really been too long.
The professor says that the live stream keeps slipping.
If that keeps happening, jump over to Twitch. It looks like it's fine over there. Is YouTube's upset at me for finally doing a live stream again? And of course, O'Neill shows up for a counseling session too. Darwin overbooked himself, maybe. Of course, knowing Darwin,
man, I'm sure.
Knowing Darwin, he probably intentionally did this because he knew they would help each other out.
That wouldn't surprise me. O'Neill and Hudson never really got along very well, so even more reason for O'Neill to be on Bridger's side in this situation.
Hmm. So there goes the last of the antigen dispersals, and they want Lewis to do a check on the water's toxicity level. But of course, we zoom in, and what do we find? Well, we find that the episode's only half over, so of course something's going to go wrong. And what's wrong is that it mutated bad, looks like. No, not me overbooking patients, Josh. Darwin.
He has quite a waiting list, I'm sure.
So everyone seems happy. It looks like everything's great. We're able to let the fishermen come back in and fish in this area, which may be a little premature there, UAO guy.
A bit, yes.
But Henderson notices that something, getting some weird buckling, some weird pressure. They decide to go check it out. What's going on here? And Dagwood is being a ladder right now, basically. He just picks up Henderson so she can get a closer look at things. And we got water seeping into SeaQuest. Suddenly a pipe bursts right onto Henderson. No, Josh, I am not Darwin.
And something's eating away at the whole of SeaQuest.
Yeah, it's hard to tell there. Like, at first I thought it was like being pushed in. I mean, there's only so much you can do with graphics of the day.
Yeah.
But it literally is being eaten away. So now they're opening the ballast tanks and getting everything back into a state of equilibrium. Which you may have noticed I didn't restate my predictions for this episode because I have no idea what my predictions were. I guess I could have looked, but I didn't. So we find out that Lonnie and Dagwood have been infected by the Firma strain, that it has mutated so that it's no longer just infecting aquatic life, but it's also infecting people. That is jump species.
And also SeaQuest's hull because it's organic, so that's why it's forming hull breaches.
So Lewis pulled a bit of a Dr. Fauci. He did some gains of function research by accident. It was my bad, sorry. That's right, Professor. It's just ocean COVID. The doctor's doing her best. She's giving a broad spectrum antibiotic, but beyond that, all she can do is try and mitigate the pain. And we can see it's really not working that well. The skin's supposed to be completely inert, but somehow it is actually responding to the organisms in the ocean. And we get this shot of this hole, and it's just, filled with bacterial infection. Something that happens to Voyager gets an infection in spironeural circuitry because of Neelix.
Oh yeah, the cheese, right?
Yep. Oh, that Neelix. But unfortunately, the SeaQuest is very quickly not going to be able to handle sea pressures. They have to find some way to get everything fixed again. And Nathan is convinced for some reason that something in this area will have a natural immunity to the antigen, or the Pharma 21. So he's going to take a sub, even though if he goes searching too deep, the sub is going to be crushed. And there's another hull breach, so they stop in time not to get sprayed by the water. But they gotta get out of there. They pull a quick LaForge, doing a barrel roll underneath the closing door. And it looks like everything's fine. Quick check. No water droplets. We're okay. Close call. Except...
Oh, there's another one.
Well, fortunately, it wasn't Jellicoe. It really is ocean COVID, Professor. They're running out of staff. Not enough medical beds. And they can't bring in additional help because they're in the infected zone and they can't leave unless they bring the infection with them. So the doctor's trying to set up something with, remote learning. They kind of made him seem apathetic to her plight. But honestly, there's nothing either one of them can do. They literally can't come into the zone and they can't leave. But it's okay. You don't need to worry too much about the lieutenant. She does have an emotional inhibitor. So she's not feeling any fear. And the politician, he's yelling at Lewis for not predicting what would have happened when it mutated. But they have less than 12 hours at this point to neutralize this virus, or else it's going to hit the seaboard or the coastline of some bordering nation. And Jellicoe again makes the correct military choice. He calls for basically a nuclear strike on the contaminated zone, namely SeaQuest. I mean, it's not a nuclear strike. They call it something else, something that would be less damaging to the ocean environment, but at the same time, something that will kill everything in the ocean, in this area of the ocean. So it would be something that would immediately kill life, but wouldn't have prolonged damage, whereas a nuclear device obviously would kill life and would contaminate the area for years to come. Yeah, bye-bye SeaQuest. Who knew we were on the last episode here, Jeff?
I guess they should have listened to Bridger.
They at least wouldn't be in this situation.
True.
Now, Lewis, he's not ready to sit down and quit. I mean, Jellicoe and Ford, they're kind of like, well, we had a good run. And Lewis is going, no. Let's get a hold of Bridger. He knows more about this than anyone. We got 10 hours to work our way out of this. I kind of miss the Stingray ship.
Yeah.
Lewis tries to hail them. Dr. Johansson answers, and honestly, I'm not sure what the point of her is for this episode.
I guess they need somebody to answer the phone after Bridger left.
I guess. Unfortunately, she didn't even get listed in the guest stars list. you obviously had Bridger, and he was such an important guest star that they had his name and then did nothing for a solid minute. And then they did a second guest star of Michael Pylers, I think it said. But wasn't Michael Pylers, he was an executive producer for Voyager. It must be a different Michael. Or I'm getting the last name completely wrong. And I wrote this down.
You're talking about Michael Pillar? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I
No.
didn't
Michael Costello. Okay. I just had Pillars on my mind because I recently saw an episode with him as the director. So no, Michael Costello, who I'm pretty sure was the UEO guy. But still, the point is, she didn't even get listed in the guest stars credits. And unfortunately, Bridger, he got exposed. He went too deep. The water crushed a little bit. Just enough to cause a leak, not enough to completely crush the ship like a soda can. And again, they're arguing their positions. Lewis is saying the situation demanded an immediate response. And he's like, well, you've never been able to concede anything, Bridger. He's calling him out a little bit. Like, hey, you turned your back, you left the UEO, then you left SeaQuest when you thought it wasn't what it should be. It's like, yeah, you have your convictions, I have mine. They're not the same as what they used to be. I'm growing as a person. And honestly, if I could do it all over again, I'd do the exact same thing. Because I felt that was the most important call under the circumstances. So again, still, no one's showing any data. But Bridger throws out an olive branch because, well, maybe we can find a third option at this point. And fortunately, the dive wasn't a complete failure. He found this bottle of green liquid.
Algae.
It's an algae that's still alive. That must mean that it has a natural immunity to the thermostrain. So if they can find out what that natural immunity is, they can use it to create an antidote. But fortunately, Lewis can tell simply by glancing at it that it has the same catalyzing function as his enzyme. He's like Geordie LaForge over here.
He's that good.
Yeah. He doesn't need a microscope. Just one glance. Oh, yes, I can see that this algae is exactly what we need.
Yes, Darwin has trained him well.
But we interrupt that action to bring you this side story with Ford and Henderson.
Oh, yeah, they were a thing.
Unfortunately, Ford just boneheaded move right here as he pushes aside the quarantine plastic to directly hold her hand. He should have gotten sick. He should have gotten sick from this. Like if this antigen is so bad that simply being touched by the water that it's in makes you immediately sick like this, it should be passing through her perspiration as well. Perspiration. But Ford, he begins telling this real emotional story about his ex-girlfriend. never a smart move, guys. Your current girlfriend does not want to hear about things that happen between your ex and you.
Maybe he's trying to trigger her into waking up.
Maybe. Maybe like, really? I'm on death's bed and this is what you're talking about? Right? You know, he's trying to say how they did it all through high school. They're really serious. They separated when they went to college. And then a few years later, he found out she was married. And he felt like there was a hole in his heart. Because apparently, despite dating for that long, he never told her that he loved her. But he's not going to make that same mistake again. And he tells Henderson that he loves her. Oh. He's not going to let you go, Jack.
So that's where Titanic got it from.
And Switch from The Matrix. Not like this. Not like this. Sounds like a Kurogan move. I have been known to be that dense. I'm not going to lie.
I guess you could say in Ford's defense that they feel like they're about to get blown up anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
True. So he's laying it out. He's saying, it seems like this crew and this ship have become part of the danger. So we have no choice. We're going to have to end this together. The warhead is ready for launch. They're just waiting for the end now. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the UEO commander. Teach me to try and do two things at once. So he reports in. He thinks he found the solution. We're going to try and buy some quick time. And lo and behold, the UEO politician, he launched it before he told anyone. He was worried that the SeaQuest would panic, that they wouldn't be willing to make that ultimate sacrifice. And so he launched it. And it's past the point of no return at this point. So Jellicoe's going to go out and try and manually shoot it down. Which, hey, I mean, impressive. Maybe a little foolish, but still impressive. And look at that. The engine is actually working. If only they had waited just another minute or hour before launching the bomb.
If only. But I gave Hudson a chance to be the hero.
But he can't launch torpedoes. He's going to have to try and snipe it out with his lasers. because it's a tactical device. So if it was hit with a torpedo, the kinetic hit might cause it to detonate. So he has precisely cut the torpedo at just the right spot, such that the warhead is separated and not detonated. And meanwhile, Lewis has gotten the antigen. I mean, we're talking about Operation Warp Speed here. They are just replicating this at a pace that no one could have possibly expected. And they begin to disperse the new antigen, the working antigen, throughout the infected area. Angelico kind of flexing his abilities there, skimming the bottom of the ocean floor. I can see them. You remember this time there's an energy drink called Surge?
Yeah.
I think that's what's in those bags. That's the same kind of greenish color Surge had. Oh, poor Lonnie. She has carrot paste, cream of corn, and avocado, or mashed peas. I'm not sure which. It's definitely not 5-star food options here. Uh-oh. I think I may have just crashed something by accident.
And what happened?
I just got an error message saying OBS has crashed, but it looks like it's still going. So I'm not going to touch anything, guys. I'm just going to let it sit here, and it's going to keep going. And I'll let it crash after the stream is finished. And Henderson is claiming that even though she was afraid and lonely, she knew Ford wouldn't let her go like that. And she also knew that Ford loved her. Oh. And there's this one thing I don't understand, though. Who is Kim Nichols, and why do I feel like I need to write her a thank you card? And of course, Kim Nichols was the ex-girlfriend. Now, nice try, Professor. You're saying where did Matthew go, but I can see me right over on the other monitor, right next to me.
2 weeks later, Darwin's given everything his seal of approval.
Because everyone knows Darwin is much better at detecting these things than scientific equipment.
I mean, they should just asked him before all this started, and they could have avoided all this trouble.
Exactly. And now we finally
get... He studied data.
Yes, finally. And Bridger is saying, you know what? We looked at it, researched it more, and I'm right, kinda. It still would have burned itself out, but it would have infected an entire seacoast beforehand. So intervention was required. Yes, I've done it again. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again. So Bridger's going to go back to his fleet. He's still looking for his son Robert and his wife. And who knows, maybe Robert will find Bridger instead of Bridger finding Robert. But Bridger really wants, whenever he finds Robert or Robert finds him, he wants him to meet Lewis, his other son. And then, a warm smile. You fight with your dad, you make up. Nice try, Thomas. I still have the monitor right next to me. I see the stream working just fine. Nice try, Thomas. And I can still hear me as well. Oh, there we go. There we go in the credits. Dr. Johansson. They didn't put it in the guest stars, but they did at least include her in the ending credits. All right. Well, John, that was this episode of SeaQuest. What did you think?
And I thought it was a fun episode. At first, Bridger is being kind of stubborn and butting heads. But, he kind of came around at the end. And that both of them were basically wrong in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution did end up being a third option, like you said.
I do like that was... I like that was their end thing. Like, if they had just made it where Bridger was right the whole time, Lewis was wrong, I think it would have been a weaker episode. But by making it, no, actually, we were both wrong, it definitely made it much better. So, I guess, do you have anything negative to say about this? Because I don't have anything really negative to say about this one.
I can't really think of anything.
Yeah, I only have praise for it. I like that we see more and more how Jellicoe is a military man and that he makes military decisions. And he stands by them. Like, he's not just some corrupt military guy, which, is usually the role that military plays in Hollywood. But he's actually willing to make the tough choices. And when when the choice had a disastrous consequence, he was willing to die for the greater good. Like, he's an honorable man, and I enjoy that. I guess my one nitpick would be the Lonnie and Ford thing. Kind of, it slowed the pacing down just a little bit. Like, the scene was good. It's just where they chose to place it kind of, I don't know. We kind of had this building action between Bridger and Lewis, and then it stopped real quick to have this, quiet moment. I don't know. It broke the flow. I would have liked to see them put that somewhere else. Yeah, you have access to my Peacock? Not quite, Thomas. I don't think you can click on a video to get access to my Peacock account. Well, John, any final thoughts? I am going to kind of wrap it up a little abruptly because I don't know when this is just going to crash on me.
Well, it was good to see Bridger back. Let's see the interaction between him and the other characters he used to know, and especially him and Lucas. They had a father-son bond. So it's good that he didn't just completely disappear from the show after he left as the main star. Yeah, I am glad that they brought Bridger back for this one. It made for a fun twist, and I mean we're kind of right smack dab in the middle of the season. So it was nice to bring him in at this point. All right, so guys, that was this episode. We will wrap it up here. Next week, we will continue with this because honestly, there's only 6 episodes left. So there's a month and a half of episodes. So we are absolutely going to get this wrapped up here. Amy's good enough so we can keep doing this. And I want to get this done before it gets too crazy with work. I got a really big project that's going to be starting sometime within the next couple months. And so once that happens, I don't know what my live streaming availability is going to be. So I absolutely want to get SeaQuest done before we get there. Next week, we're going to be watching SeaQuest Season 3, Episode 8. It's called Resurrection. So my prediction... Interesting.
My prediction is we are going to have let's say dinosaurs. We kind of already did that with Ford and his daddy. I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to say dinosaurs. We're going to have some extinct species
and they're going to somehow resurrect it, and it's going to create issues. Oh, wait, but they did that with the daddy, and they did that with... It doesn't matter. I'm sticking with it. Final answer. And Professor
so we get to
saying...
see just how wrong Matthew is.
Yes. Tune in next week. You can see how wrong I am. And we will be doing it next week, Lord permitting. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to go ahead and let OBS crash now, and we're going to see what happens.